Hi everyone. Today I wanted to talk about tee boxes and how to choose which tee box you should be playing most of the time. So, if you're playing the correct tee box, ideally you would have a combination of easy holes, moderately difficult holes, and difficult holes. What that means is if you hit a pretty good tee shot on a par 4, some of the holes you should have a shorter club in, some of the holes you should have a mid club in, and on a few holes you should have a long club in. If you find you're hitting a fairway wood into every par 4 or you're coming up short in 2 on most of the holes, then you're probably playing too far back. The chart seen here can help you figure out which tee box would be best suited for you based on how far you hit your driver and how far you hit your 5-iron. Next, I'm going to interview a couple of our staff members to ask them which tee boxes they play and why. Hopefully this is helpful for you when you're choosing which tee box you should play this season. All right, so Bob, if you are going to play a golf course, how do you determine what yardage you're going to play from?
I generally try and play my golf between 6,500 and 6,800 yards.
Why is that?
It's just, I drive the ball about 260, 265 yards on average, and that puts me in the landing areas generally, as long as I hit it straight, where the golf course is designed to be played from. So the landing areas are wider, more generous, and that's why I play those yardages.
Perfect. If you hit a decent drive, what type of club do you normally have into the green on a par 4?
On a par 4, if I'm playing 6,800 yards, sometimes I'll have a long iron or a hybrid. If I'm playing the silver tees, for example, which is around just under 6,500 yards, I'll have a short iron, a wedge, maybe a 9-iron.
Awesome. And when you play the Quarry, what's your preferred tee box?
I like playing both the bronze and the silver tees. It just depends on how I'm feeling, how I'm playing at the time, but playing both sets of tees gives me good variety and is a lot more fun than when I have to go back to the slate tees and play with my son at 72 or 7,300 yards.
Perfect. And when you play from that yardage, would you say you use most of the clubs in your bag?
Yes, I get a good variety. I get more variety from the bronze tees than I do with the silver tees. But oftentimes I'll hit hybrids and irons off the tee on the silver tee box, just so I have more variety with my approach shots.
Perfect. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, so Pat, when you go play a golf course, how do you decide what tee box you're going to play from?
Typically, I like to play around 6,800 yards. So it really depends on, number one, how long their championship tees are, the back tee. Mm-hmm. I don't really prefer to play anything longer than 7,200 yards. But I will, depending on the group that I'm with. So it really depends, one, on if I've played the course before, and two, who I'm playing with. Because it's always easier to play with people from the same tee, so not everyone's playing a different tee box. Ideally, though, I like to play yardage where I can reach a couple of the par 5s in 2 and most of the par 4s in 2. So usually around 6,800 yards.
Okay. And when you play the Quarry, what's your favorite tee box to play from?
My favorite tee box would probably be the bronze. It's 6,800 yards. It kind of keeps a lot of the bunkers out of play for me, so I don't hit into trouble a lot. Mm-hmm. But I also like to play the slate tees all the way back, just because it's a nice view.
Okay. And when you play the bronze, what club do you typically have in your hand when you're hitting into a par 4?
Par 4. So I'm usually hitting an 8-iron or a 7-iron into mm-hmm. the par 4s. I also like the par 3s from the bronze tees. They're not crazy long. So
you have a kind of a mix of clubs hitting off the par 3 tees.
Yes, correct.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so Chris, when you go play around with your friends, how do you decide what yardage you're going to play from?
I usually look for a tee box between 66 and about 6,900 yards.
And why 66 to 6,900?
It's a lot more fun hitting 7 and 8 irons into greens than hitting woods, hybrids, or long irons.
All right, that's fair. So on par threes, if from that yardage, would you say you have a mix of clubs to hit off the tee?
Yes.
Okay. And on par fours, what do you think the typical club you'd be hitting into an average par four if you hit a decent drive would be?
Normally about 7 iron, 8 iron, sometimes a long iron, sometimes a short iron, just depends, but it's on average 7 or 8 iron.
Perfect. How far do you hit your driver on average?
270-ish.
Okay. And if you're playing the Corey, what tees would you pick if you're playing for fun?
I'd play the bronze.
The bronze tees. So that sets you up to hit most par fours and with a 7 iron or 8 iron as your second shot.
Yep, puts a mid to low iron usually in my hand.
Awesome. Oh, why wouldn't you play from the tips?
Because it's not fun hitting long irons and woods into par fours.
All right, fair enough. Thank you.